was brought to you by Simple Mills. So everybody say, yay, Simple Mills. Yay. So if you are baking along at home, here's what I need from you. I need you to preheat your oven because we'll dedicate the second half of this workshop to the brownies. And you will need your oven either preheated to 400 degrees if you're using a light colored pan. So we'll consider that to be like your glass pans, etc. Or 375 for a dark color pan. If you're dialing in from a place that uses the metric system, you're gonna have to do that math. I love you, I like you, but I'm not doing it for you. So 375 or 400. Okay, now that we've gotten that business out of the way, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for transcribing that instruction. So aSweatLife does things for two big reasons, and we are in a digital world right now, so we're doing our events a little differently. But we host our events to try new things and to meet new people. So if this is your first time doing a digital cooking class, I want you to type a little Y in the chat. First time doing a digital cooking class, put a little Y.
Everybody that tuned in as well. This has been
So that'll satisfy my urge to do new things. Okay, just one. If this is your first time putting spinach in brownies, type a Y in the chat. Nailed it. We tried something new. We're about to try something new anyway. Okay, yes, we're doing great. Spinach, it's gonna be pure magic. So we're also here to meet new people. I know it's challenging on Zoom because we're all in different places, so we won't make this too much of a stretch. But I want you guys to type into the chat what you're looking forward to celebrating next, whether that's a birthday or whether that's an anniversary or whether that's a wedding that's coming up. Just tell us what you're celebrating. And while you're doing that, I'm going to preheat my oven because I'm going to follow my own directions today. What are you celebrating next, my friends? Oh, seeing family. I love that. Your birthday is next week? That's not selfish. You get to celebrate your own birthday. You are officially in birth month, Charlotte. Memorial Day, Kelly, that sounds great. We've got a pass of the National EMT exam. Everybody give a round of applause for that celebration. Got a hero. Let's see what else. Memorial Day weekend. I think all of us are looking forward to celebrating that. Friend's wedding, seeing family. Mom, I would love to see you too. And end of kids' school next week. Goodbye, Zoom school, right? Am I right? Let's get into summer, you guys. Okay, are you ready for a craft? It's gonna be so simple, and then I'm gonna pass it to Alia. So everyone's oven is preheated. If you're baking along, let's do a craft. So what I'm gonna show you how to make is, I'm looking for my other screen, is a super simple, here we go, I'm gonna spotlight this guy, is a super simple banner. So what I've done is I've grabbed some yarn. Oh, opposite, oh, there we go. Some yarn, it's like a stringy yarn. Literally anything can work for this. There we go. I have to move in the opposite direction. It's very hard. Any string, yarn, etc. can work for this banner. And then what you need is just like some run-of-the-mill printer paper. So what I've done is I've pre-cut some triangles. The sun's hitting it just right. And then what these triangles are going to become is like a little flag. Or little flags that hang off of the string. So my easy hack for cutting triangles out of printer paper is either, oh my gosh, it's so hard to work with this camera, is either just fold it in half and then cut along the line, or if you happen to have a fancy schmancy one of these, you can use this guy to cut it. But if you're working with scissors, that's cool too. So what you do is you make some triangles out of the paper, just like fold it in half, if that's what you're rocking with. Honestly, what I like to have is some variance in size and shape because it gives it a little character, a little character. That's the word I'm looking for. So once it's folded in half, you can take your scissor and just cut it down the middle. And then what you want to do is you want to make those flags. I'm going to cut it sloppily because this is like a cooking show, you know, when they're like, and then you mix it up and it's perfect, and they pull it out of the oven and it's literally perfect, even though it wasn't perfect going in. We all know that. It's not a secret. So you want enough flags to spell out something like happy birthday or like happy anniversary or congratulations. And then you just write the letters that go along with what you're celebrating on these tiny flags. So I'm going to do a C on this little flag for congratulations. And you want to make sure there's a little space at the top of the flag because you're going to fold it over, but that's going to come later. Okay. I'll do a couple. I'll do C-O-N. It'll be like I'm saying con, but we know it's going to be congratulations. You conned us. And I love to play with rainbow colors, but you guys, if it's like a wedding you're celebrating, maybe pick their wedding colors. If you have markers, this is a great place to just go crazy with markers. Okay, so I'm going C-O. Normally I would take a little more time and make these letters look less like I hadn't used a pen before. But today is not the day, my friends. Today is the day we go fast. So C-O-N, and then I'm gonna hang it up and string it up. So honestly, it's the thought that counts when we are sheltering in place and celebrating. So what I'm gonna do is literally staple these things on to this flag. Okay, so little string coming at you. I'm gonna go to my other camera so you can see it. Guess what? I'm bad at I'm bad at this other camera. How do you guys do it, Don and Alia? Okay, so I'm gonna cut this string after I attach the letters because I don't want to cut it too short. But what I'm literally going to do is staple this stuff on. Yeah, staples. And you can celebrate every staple that works too. Like, why not? Oh, and then I'll show you the finished project, like a cooking show, you guys. And guess what? If you mess it up or miss, again, it is the thought that counts at this moment in time. You can think about like fancy schmancy-ish after this is over. When it feels like not out of the way to go to a party store, like go to a party store. But right now, we make this stuff at home. Okay. So we've got our letters strung up on this thing. And what you want to do is attach it. Is what I think what really makes it special is the element of surprise. So we've got the letters strung up, C-O-N. And then you can do this maybe in the morning, Charlotte, on your birthday. You can do it for yourself. But I did this for my husband on his birthday, which was Monday. And you'll see it says, happy birthday. And guess what? He's 37 and he was delighted. Surprise someone you love with a silly little craft that just shows them you're still celebrating and you still care. And it goes a super long way. That's my banner craft that you can do with literally anything to celebrate anything. Popcorn, Alia.
Thanks, Jada. I love it. That's adorable. I was just thinking it would be, I don't think I have like the brain power to do it, but if you were surprising someone on a Zoom to like write it backwards.
Oh, cute.
Right? Or no, did it work? I think it worked the way you showed it.
It worked.
Honestly, my brain doesn't work this way.
Yeah. You can read that.
I'm gonna stick to cooking. Hi guys, good to see everybody again. We are going to be making dips, we're making appetizers, we're making brownies. It's just going to be like a bonanza of cooking things today. As we go, feel free to pop any questions or anything like that in the chat. I'll kind of pop over to it periodically to check. But I wanted to show you guys a couple of things. When I heard that Simple Mills was sponsoring this week, I basically like freaked out because I probably spend a quarter of my paycheck on their almond flour crackers. So I was like, I gotta show you guys like some dips and some different ways to top those because I'm like obsessed with these crackers. So super excited about that. If we haven't met, my name is Alia Dalal. I am a Chicago-based chef. My background is health and wellness though, so I definitely like to use, whole foods and show how to make healthy foods kind of fun and exciting. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be making a kale avocado dip, some little toppers for the crackers, and then we'll kick it over to Dawn, who I've heard is making spinach brownies, and I bet they're gonna be amazing. I'm very excited. So I'm gonna set these crackers aside. I do have a recipe packet, so if you guys don't have it yet and you wanted to make one of these later, let us know and we can always send that to you. But it's funny because when Dawn said that she was going to put spinach in the brownies, I was like, cool, because I'm putting kale in the guacamole. So you guys are going to be very celebratory today, but also very healthy. You're going to get your greens. So I'm going to start off with a couple leaves of kale. One thing, kind of a pro tip for you, I always see people trying to cut the kale off the stems, but really that's just like a very tedious way to do it. So just hold the kale leaf in one hand and just rip off the leaf with the rest of your hand. It's just like a much faster way to do it. So I'm gonna take maybe 3 or 4 kale leaves. The stems are just gonna be a little too woody, so we don't need those. And I'm gonna take them and just cut them up roughly. We're gonna put everything in the food processor, so it doesn't need to be like teeny tiny, but I think this will just keep you from having like those really long stretches of kale in something like a dip. We don't want it to blend completely, but we want it to really, like, I don't know, kind of meld well with the dip. So I cut everything kind of small. This is the same process I'd use if I were making a kale salad. I'm just gonna grab a bowl. I think for like a lot of restaurants, or if you go to like the Whole Foods salad bar, any of those places, they tend to have these giant leaves of kale, but they're really hard to eat. And so I always like cutting it a little bit smaller. To this, we're gonna add lime juice from 2 limes. So any kind of dip, or especially like guacamole type dips, the lime and the salt are going to be to taste. I'll tell you though, like a big mistake that I see people make is not adding enough lime juice. You really want enough to make it nice and bright. Salt is going to be a mistake too, but lime I would say is the bigger one. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 limes. You could always start off with 1 though if you're not sure. Lemon juice would work as well. We just want something that's like nice and tart, and that'll help cut through like the fattiness and the richness of the avocado, just to make it really multi-dimensional. So that's juice of 2 limes. I'm gonna sprinkle some salt in, and we just have a couple more ingredients to add. I'm gonna get these little limes out of the way. I'm gonna do the same technique that I would do if I were making a kale salad, which is to massage the leaves a little bit with my hands. So that doesn't mean anything special. I'm literally just taking them in my hand and kind of smushing them around. This helps break down some of that insoluble fiber or some of that cellulose that's in the plant. It gives it its structure. And so as you can see, as you massage it, it just starts to tenderize, break down. It's not so bitter, but it's just also a little bit like softer and easier to chew, and just like a little bit more digestible too. So this is kind of the only little extra step that I recommend that you take with this recipe, but I think it makes a difference when you do this to kale. You can already see how much that volume has decreased just because we're breaking up a little bit of that plant fiber. So this is going to go into my food processor. Let me grab a little towel, get my hands clean. So I'm going to open the food processor, and we'll add this. This is about 2 cups. This is pretty generous. I don't mind a ton of kale in there. If you, are going to be sharing this with someone who's going to be like horrified that you're putting kale in guacamole, just put less. They might not notice. But that's why I called it kale avocado dip, to not offend anybody who is like, this is not guacamole. I'm going to make sure I get that extra lime juice in there too, because that's my flavor. And then let's just add a few more flavoring ingredients. So I definitely want to add some cilantro. I love cilantro. It's going to give us just some nice bright green, like freshness and that nice fresh herbal flavor. You can absolutely use the stems. I think a lot of times people just use the leaves, but the stems actually have more flavor. So maybe don't use the very end that's like dirty or has the roots or something, but these stems, maybe cut them up a little bit smaller so you don't get long strings in there. But definitely, especially for sauces where you don't really need those big, beautiful leaves, go ahead and put the stems in. And then instead of like a red onion, I actually like to add scallions or green onions. Sometimes red onion, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but it's just like a little too sharp, especially when you make something like a dip. It can just overpower it. I feel like, I guess I know some other people do feel this way because I always see people pulling red onions like out of salads and off of burgers, and I think a lot of us like that onion taste, but it can just get overpowering. Chives and scallions are much more mild, so I feel like for raw ingredients, they work really well. So I cut up the white part at the bottom, and then I cut up the green part at the top. And then this part in the middle is often like a little thick and woody. So this is the only part I skip. But I do go ahead and put this in like a gallon freezer bag. And I'll put like carrot skins in there and, you know, parts of onions, celery tops. And then when the bag is full, I can pour water over it and make stock from scratch. So you can definitely save these, but they're just a little tough to chew on their own. So I'm gonna add that to the food processor. And then, ooh, let's add a little chili too. So I have my little chili of the week in this jar. So I'm just gonna add maybe a slice or two. I know if you caught our Cinco de Mayo event, I was saying I don't cut out the seeds or the white part of the jalapeno because that's what gives it the heat. And I feel like if you want, you know, heat, that's why you're adding a jalapeno. So I tend to just kind of cut off little slices as I go and just use less than most people would because I'm using the spiciest part, which is that white pith. So this is all going into the food processor.
Hey, Alia.
Yes.
Question from attendees. Can we use a blender instead?
Yes. Okay. So let's see. Blender work. Yes. So you have two options. You can just do this by hand, and instead of cutting really big like I did, just cut smaller and then mash the avocado with a fork. The Vitamix or a blender might get things a little too pureed, but if you do like sort of really creamy, smooth guac, you'll like that. So then use the blender, but if you like more like chunky kind of chunks of avocado, then just use a fork would be my recommendation. The food processor is just gonna make it a little bit faster. So I am gonna pulse this up. And then we get the little dryer stuff in there. You can just grab a spatula. And then we're gonna add our maybe 3 avocados. You can add more or less depending on how much guac you wanna make. But then this will be ready to go, and it's so good with the almond flour crackers because they're like nice and salty, and this is like nice and tangy and spicy, and it's really good. So this is a little pulled up. Let me show you what's going on in here. You know, it's not teeny tiny. It's not like pesto or anything yet, but it's just going to make sure we don't have like a giant, you know, sprig of cilantro in our final dip. So let's go ahead and add our avocados. And a tip for ripening avocados, some of you guys might know that like if you store them in a paper bag, that paper bag traps the ethylene gas that they release, which helps them ripen more quickly. So if you need them to ripen in like a day or two, shut them inside a paper bag and that will help. The other thing that kind of helps, and this might be like a party planning tip for the future, is the more avocados you have, the more ethylene gas they're going to release. So you'll actually have an easier time ripening like 6 avocados than you would 1. So I know that's sort of a funny way to think about it, but you know, I had a bunch of avocados. They were really underripe, but I just had them in a bowl, but because there were like 5 or 6 of them, they really ripened each other a lot more quickly than just 1 or 2 would have. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a spoon, and I'm gonna just get the avocados in here. And maybe I'll show you guys a little trick for slicing avocados too. If you've ever seen like those really pretty bowls and you're like, why doesn't mine look like that? Most of the time, right, we just cut them in half and we scoop out the middle like this. I learned this from a sushi chef. If you want those really nice slices, go ahead and cut the avocado in half, just like we did, but now don't scoop it out. You actually want to, I want to make sure you guys can see my board here. You want to flip it over so that it's, I don't know, would you call that the face? Face side down. And cut it in half gently. This actually works better if your avocados are a little underripe. And now here, you actually want to just gently peel off the skin. As gently as you can. And then get rid of these pits. And then you can slice it like this. We don't really need to do that for this recipe, but you can see you get a really nice slice and it just has like a really smooth top. So you don't have any of those like jagged little things in there. Not really necessary for today, but if you're wondering how they look so good on like avocado toast or in like sushi, that's how you do it. So little bonus tip for you if part of your celebration involves avocado. I don't know why it wouldn't. So let's get our final one in there. We'll do a little sprinkle of salt and then we'll blend this guy up. So I'm just gonna put these to the side. Gina's question about who does the dishes is very appropriate for me because as you can see, I'm a very messy cook. So I definitely need someone on cleanup and on dishes at all times. So luckily he will be paid in guacamole tonight. So a little bit of salt in there. And then I like to pulse to start, just to kind of start to pull those avocados in. And then blend it really as smooth or as chunky as you like it.
I think that was the guacamole dance.
It starts to get a little stuck. You guys can kind of move it around, but let me show you the consistency. This one had a decent amount of kale. I think my recipe for you has 2 raw cups of kale. We probably had 3 or close to 4, which I'm totally cool with, but you can see you get like some chunks in there. It almost has like a spinach artichoke dip meets guac texture. And then for tasting, you know, I can't just leave it like this. I have to teach you how to squeeze it in a little bit. Let's grab a cracker. I'm just going to use the plain, the sea salt flavor ones. We're going to take a taste, and then I'm asking myself, does this taste bland? Or does it taste like avocado, lime, salt, jalapeno? If it doesn't taste like any of those ingredients, I know I need a little bit of salt. And it's always good to taste dressings and dips with the ingredient that you're going to serve it with, because we're not, I mean, maybe you are just going to have spoonfuls of it, but usually like the cracker or the salad, if you're doing a salad dressing, is going to add its own flavor. So this is really the best way to taste it. It was pretty good. So first I ask if it's bland, if I feel like, I can't quite taste anything, little bit of sea salt. And then my second question is, does this taste flat? If I'm like, oh, you know what, yeah, I can taste everything, it's not bland, I think it has enough salt. If it tastes flat, if it just doesn't taste like really nice and multi-dimensional, that means I need something acidic. So in this recipe, our acidic ingredient is the lime. So my written recipe for you has up to 3 limes. We did 2, so we definitely have some room to add a little bit more lime to this one. So I have a little bowl for this for snacking later, but I want to show you guys just a couple other ideas for cracker topping as well. So I'm just going to set this guy to the side. Any questions on the dip though before we move on? Yes, guac equals life. I agree. And I mean, if you can get like 2 cups of kale in there, that's awesome too. It just gives it a little something different. Another veggie I like putting into guac is celery. And I know it sounds a little weird because I feel like a lot of people don't really like celery plain. It can kind of have like a tum-nugging, almost like soapiness. But if you chop it up really small, it actually helps stretch guac because that can be kind of an expensive dish to make for a party. So I love adding veggies for that reason too. And then this way, especially if you're celebrating at home, like it's almost like a balanced meal if you just have like a couple other things if you get your veggie in there. So I took a couple other crackers. These are the black pepper ones because I wanted just to give you guys some ideas of other ways that you can top them. So instead of making like a complicated appetizer for a celebration at home, you can just put together like some simple cracker toppings and basically make canapes. So canapes is like it's kind of a dated word, but it's a term for like an hors d'oeuvre or an appetizer that's usually on top of bread or on top of a cracker or like just a little toast or something. So it's like a little one bite thing. You know, you could put them on potato slices or cucumber slices or something, but this is a canapé. So for one idea, I have a couple of ideas for you guys in this recipe packet, but I'm putting a little bit of hummus or whatever kind of dip you like on there. And then I actually have a little bit of wild Alaskan smoked salmon. So I'm going to put a little bit on there too. And if you're just, you know, celebrating at home, I think this is a perfectly cute little canapé. You can make yourself a little plate of them. Maybe have some dip too. If you want to, you know, maybe you could add some dill or like a little garnish, but I don't think you need to go crazy to make things like really complicated. Another thing that you can do that's kind of nice to do like a sweet salty combination. I have a little bit of a green apple here. I'm just going to wipe off my knife so I don't get too many flavors going on. And I'm going to do a little slice. I'll snack on that one. So do like a little slice of apple. So green apple is going to be sweet, but it's also going to be tart. And then let's do, I have a little bit, like a tiny bit of cheese left. This is a manchego or like a sheep's milk, kind of a drier sheep's milk cheese that goes really well with like sweet ingredients. So I'm going to take just a tiny little wedge of this, but we can cut this into like pretty small pieces. So it's a great way to stretch like a more premium ingredient too. And we can just do like a little I don't know, I feel like this is maybe too light of ingredients. I feel like I'm looking very fair, very bright in this camera. I'm really picking up the light here, but we have just a little bit of green apple, a little bit of manchego on top, and all of a sudden with just those few things that are in my fridge, we have like a cute little canapé plate. So that could be another way we do a little celebration, is cute little canapés like this. The last thing I want to show you, which was revelatory to me this week, we were chatting about brownies and the Simple Mills Brownie mix. This was actually my first time trying this. And so if you aren't able to make the full pan of brownies and tonight with Dawn, I did want to show you, this is actually a recipe from Simple Mills that I modified a little bit for a 1-person, 1-minute mug brownie. So I'm going to both apologize for this and say you're welcome for this. This, in the week that it's been introduced to my house, has been game-changing for our family. We don't typically have a microwave. My kitchen, I just don't have enough counter space, so we had one and we moved it to the basement. It has now been brought up and sitting on a stool so that we can make these mug brownies. So we're taking the Simple Mills Brownie mix, and I'm going to do a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of the mix. This actually already has chocolate chips in it. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 because I know my dishwasher is definitely going to want 1 after this evening is wrapped up. So 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. And then they have a couple options of what you can mix with it, but I'll show you what I mix with it. 2 tablespoons there. We're going to do coconut oil and then a little bit of whatever kind of plant-based milk, regular milk, even water you have. You don't need anything special for that, but the oil will kind of help with the consistency and keeping it rich. The mugs that we have are like those giant crate and barrel, like it's literally the size of my face. So a mug brownie in that would probably be the equivalent of like an actual brownie pan. So I'm just using little ramekins, and I think it cuter. So if you have them, but like a teacup or a mug would work too. So that was 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And then we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of whatever kind of milk you're using. put that in there as well. And then this is the base recipe. So you don't need to add anything else to it. You can just stir these up and then microwave it for 1 minute. And then let it sit for a little bit. Otherwise, it's obviously going to be super hot. We've all taken things out of the microwave that are like scalding. But also it kind of sets a little bit if you let it sit for like a minute. But you can also add, like I have some tahini that I might like just sneak a little scoop, or like peanut butter or some kind of nut butter, just kind of sneak it in the middle. I have a little bit of sea salt that you could top. If you have vanilla or like peppermint extract, you could add that. Serve with berries. I mean, you can do really whatever you want with these, but you just mix it up so you get kind of this nice brownie batter consistency, and then microwave it for 1 minute. So this is your backup if you can't make the full plate of brownies tonight. But I'll go ahead and just kind of stir these, but I am super excited to see the spinach brownies and nice cream. So maybe we'll kick it over to Dawn to check those out.
Okay, I love it. I'm gonna get my stuff. Hey everybody, thank you for that. Alia, that was so fun. I love kale in anything. Amen. I love it. And bringing back the word canapé, I feel like is something. So hey everybody, people refer to me sometimes as Dawn, but you know I'm doing an identity shift into DJ Blatner. It's my Instagram handle, so I'm trying to lean in with my persona as being my Instagram handle. So this section is treat yourself. And treat yourself for me is 2 things. So that's why I'm doing a 2-part recipe here. So treat yourself sometime, excuse me, I was just enunciating too much. I was like, treat yourself. No, it's treat yourself. Treat yourself. It's 2 things to me. One is like, yes, when there are groups of people, I always buy Simple Mills mixes. So if it's somebody's birthday, I'm making, like my husband loves spice cake. And so I'll buy a Simple Mills vanilla cake and I put a bunch of spices in it and make spice cake. Or my dad does love chocolate and brownies, so I'll make these for him. So when I am in a celebratory group, Simple Mills, I love them, okay? Because you read the ingredients and it's like, you know, almond flour, all stuff I would actually use in my own kitchen. So as a registered dietitian nutritionist, you know, labels are a big deal. And so even if you're celebrating something and you're making cakes and brownies and things, why not lean into the superfood version of them, right? And so that's one of my books is called The Superfood Swap. And that really is what it's all about, is eat what you crave, but just make it with the good stuff. And so Simple Mills mixes, for me, are really the good stuff. And so to make a brownie mix with Simple Mills, okay, all you need, you could read the back of the directions here. It's half of a cup of some sort of oil or butter, 3 tablespoons of water, and 2 eggs, okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it half of a cup of oil. I'm going to use coconut oil. I'm going to keep that in the microwave to make sure it's liquidy. So it takes about 10-15 seconds. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to skip the water, and I'm still going to use the 2 eggs. So basically, I'm following these directions, but I'm skipping the water because I'm going to put a lot of spinach in there. And spinach, when you blend it up, turns into water. So that's why I don't need to use it. So really, the ingredients here to make supercharged brownies are a half of a cup of coconut oil, 2 eggs, Simple Mills brownie mix, and this 5-ounce container of spinach. I'm not going to put all of it in there. I've tried, but about half of this baby can go in there. So let me, if you're cooking along, go warm up your coconut oil 10-15 seconds, okay? All right, so we'll do that 10-15 seconds. Now, I have made every mistake in the book on how to add spinach to these, so I am going to teach you how not to do it, because literally, you think that this is hard. It is, to figure out how to get that much spinach into a brownie mix. Okay, so I've got it melted, and it's totally liquidy. It's not like boiling over or anything, but it's just, you know, 10 seconds in the microwave. So now I've got a baby little blender thing here, right? So what has happened to me in the past is I put this coconut oil in, and you know how finicky coconut oil can be? I put a bunch of cold spinach right into it, and guess what happened? The coconut oil solidified, and it didn't blend anything, and it turned into this big, disaster mess. So the bottom line is you've got to be extra coddling with this warm coconut oil, right? I've got to put in just a little bit of spinach because if I put in too much cold stuff, it's going to be temperamental. So I'm just putting in a tiny little bit to get it acclimated to my spinach. Now my spinach right now happens to be room temperature because it's been out while this thing started. But here's the deal. You just go slow. Don't put it all in at once, just a little bit. And then we're going to blend it up, and then we're going to add a little bit more, and then we're going to blend it up, and then we're going to add a little bit more until we just can't add any more spinach, okay? Here we go. That was step one. Oh, it received the spinach very well. It was not temperamental because I'm doing this in steps. So this is the key. If somebody says, did that DJ Blatner literally just show us how to make a cake mix on the back of the ingredient thing? Yeah, you just make it as usual, except for this magic step. The little bit spinach that you're adding in to the oil, and you're basically gonna make this crazy green, fabulous oil, which by the way, this is a BTW, by the way, you can have this oil in the fridge, and you can make Alia's like individual cakes. You can start putting your supercharged oil in your cake, Alia. How about that?
I really like that you two are playing off of each other here.
All right. Wait, what did she say? Did she say she's in and her husband would love it? All right, I'm going for more. I don't care if this is, you know, like, oh, Dawn, just be quick about it. I really want to get half of this thing in there. And you know what? Half of it is probably about 3-4 cups, maybe even more. But anyway, it can fit, it can do it. If you do it real gentle like this, you can keep getting the spinach in. I'm telling you. All right, I guess we could just get going. But anyways, it's about half of that container so far. I could probably get more in there. But you see that is like fabulous supercharged oil. Now I can just follow the directions, right? I can put the oil in. I don't know that I need to do this for you guys, but I will. Oh, and you know what? I'll show you this little trick too. When you measure out coconut oil, okay, so you take it out of the jar and you're measuring that it's a half of a cup, okay? And then you still have that oil all in there. Don't rinse it out. Don't rinse it out. Because then when the directions say grease your brownie pan, here's what you do. You just go into all those remnants in this cup, and that's how you grease this pan, right? So you're like, you could do it with your hands. If you're freaked out about like doing it with your hands, you could do it with like a towel. But see, like now all the remnants, I just am smoothing around the sides of my pan. Now that's a top tip. Everybody did in the chat, could you write top tip? And if there's a flame emoji, could you do that? Because this, I feel like, is a good trick for greasing a pan. You just use the remnants of what you measured. So anyway, all right, I'm just going to do it with you. Why not?
Hot question, DJ.
Yeah, you know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. What you got?
Well, I don't have coconut oil, and neither does Chelsea. I have butter and sunflower seed oil.
Oh,
what do you
better
think?
for you. Easier. As long as the butter is melted, and that's not because I'm saying it's such a great idea. Even the mixed box says melt it,
Okay.
but it's going to be less temperamental. Butter be a little temperamental, but it'll be much easier to get that spinach in to any kind of oil than coconut oil. So coconut oil is like the most temperamental of them all. So yes, you can use those oils, same amount. So now I've greased this, and I've got a good hand moisturizer as well, so that's exciting. And then I'm just going to scoop out, I gotta make sure you're seeing this stuff, like up close. Everything's so oily. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, do you see, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so fabulous. So this is about like 4 cups of spinach in my oil. I love it. It's so spinachy. And what's so cool is that, you know, because brownies are brown, you know, you're not going to be able to see the spinach. I'm not into like sneaking things. I don't care, you know, whatever. I don't need to sneak it. But it is kind of fun to know that people are eating cups and cups of spinach and they don't even know. So then my 2 eggs are going in. And then, you know, you whisk this up just like how it says in the directions on the box. The only thing that I did differently is adding that spinach kick. This is the brownie mix. We'll put it in there. And oh my gosh, we're done. La-di-da-di-dee, la-di-da-di-da. It's so very fun. On my Instagram story, it shows a picture of like the green, you know, spinach oil and then the brown mix. It's just, God, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So anyway, this is it. And then you put it in your pan and you bake it for exactly what the box says. It took mine in a 8.5 by 8.5 pan about 20 minutes this morning. I made them this morning. And by the way, if you want to use a brownie in a way that is interesting, you can have Greek yogurt with frozen thawed berries with one of these brownies crumbled on top. Let's just say it's fabulous. It's a fabulous breakfast. Because here's the thing, even though there is added sugar in here, it's a lot less than other mixes, and it's based in almond flour. So you're like, you know, what's the big whoop if you're having a little bit of brownie in your breakfast? I'm just saying. You can also cut these into 16 pieces, that's the serving size, and then freeze them. So if you don't want them like laying on your counter because you're like, you know, there's only 2 of us celebrating in this house, you can decide that you either make the individual mugs and save this supercharged brownies for when you're gathering in a group, or you can decide to start freezing them in your individual 16 pieces. Oh my gosh, hi cutie. Oh, hi cutie. There you go, you just saw me supercharge these brownies. I just paused, that was a dramatic pause. See, pretty good. Then put it in your oven. Hey, Gina?
Yo.
Did you follow along?
I sure did. I'm on the oil step still. I was so amused by you.
Oh, well, I wanted to weigh in and see if you were like almost done or what you were feeling. So anyways, this goes in the oven, and then it's about, like I said, 20 minutes. I'm gonna wash my hands with the oil because otherwise I feel like it'll be dangerous over there. And then you just serve it like a regular brownie. You know what I mean? The big thing for this is I feel like a cute little plate, like these are pinky blush plates. I feel like that really helps it, that little brownie, that's the 16th of a pan. It makes that little brownie special. Now, that's a celebratory big pan of brownies with a lot of spinach in there, okay? Now, what about an everyday dessert? Like something that maybe like, you know, I don't think I'd be making a big sheet pan of brownies every single day for myself, right? It's like, that's a great celebration, but what about an everyday celebration? And that's why I'm bringing to the table my nice cream, okay? So that's the next part of this. I'm just gonna put all this stuff off to the side so you can see me do this next part of the recipe. How do you feel? Do you feel good? Get rid of, you know, Alia, you said you're a messy cook. Yeah. Well, give me a break. I didn't even want to look at this after I'm done. I'm like, oh my gosh. Shove it in this thing. Shove it in this thing. All right, so for this, is this distracting you, any of the spills and whatnot? I'll just put the brownies like on here. Okay, so in between recipes, because this is treat yourself, we're gonna do a little disco ball. And then we are going to get started. Has anybody, oh, I'm gonna use your thing, Gina. Right. Has anybody made nice cream? Or has everybody, put up the letter Y in your box. Oh, I need to see what everybody says. Oh yeah, everybody's made it. A lot of people have made it. Oh, chocolate ice cream is good. I agree. Yes. So here's the deal. I feel like this is something people tried before, but forget about. Or they decide, oh, I need to use those bananas for yet another loaf of banana bread, and people just think, oh, I don't know about nice cream. But nice cream has so many variations. Like people have already said, chocolate nice cream, almond butter nice cream. Today we're making mint, because I love mint and chocolate together. So if I don't make brownies and I just want this as everyday dessert, I'm gonna make nice cream that is chocolate chip mint, or mint chocolate chip. That's my favorite flavor, I love that. But there's so many things you can do. So first things first is your frozen bananas. Now, I wish this was a stasher bag. So if you guys are looking at me right now and thinking, how does that girl not have a stasher bag? I wish it was a stasher bag, because that would be more eco-friendly and that would make me happier. But guess what? It's not a stasher bag. These are just a bunch of bananas, 4 bananas that I have frozen into little pieces. The big thing that I will say is if I don't want to go through the trouble of pulling something out to make an ice cream, I eat something called, I call them banana skinnies, where it's a skinny slice of bananas like this. I just put a little cocoa powder on it. Sometimes I top it with like a little walnut. But the idea is you can just go in the freezer, take out this banana skinny slice, and put a little cocoa powder on it, and it is like a little taste of ice cream. So if you don't want to do the whole batch of ice cream, banana skinnies are like my go-to. I love it. So anyway, I'm putting my stasher bag of bananas in, okay? And now, a lot of times, depending on how long I've had them out, they actually will blend with no liquid at all. So I don't know if you guys have done it. Neat is boring. Oh yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so that's why I'm covering up the messes with that bag. Anyway, so this, sometimes here's what I do when I'm making ice cream, is I just put the bananas in and see if they'll go without any liquid at all, okay? It's just, sometimes it works, sometimes it's a gamble, who knows? So if it's going without any liquid because they're a little bit thawed, good. I'd rather less liquid the better, because nobody wants soupy ice cream. That's how I feel, right? So it's going pretty good without liquid. But I may, just for fun, add in 1 tablespoon of my favorite milk, okay? Please, the recipe that I say is like 1 to even 4, because if it's like rock solid banana chunks, you might need more, but it's just a one at a time situation. And the reason why is because if I'm gonna make this, I wanna eat some right away. I don't want it to be soupy and then have to put it back in the freezer and freeze it, blah, blah, blah. Drama, ain't nobody got time for it. So here, we're just blending up. Oh, now it's looking pretty darn good. I might just work this with a spatula a little, but otherwise it's pretty good. It's getting very creamy like soft serve. That, you see that? That's defying gravity, but yet creamy. Yeah, that's right. That ain't no soupy soup. Now, here's what I'm wondering. Does anyone feel like because this is mint, does anyone feel like we need to put spinach in this also? Because then it will like tint it green. What are our thoughts about this?
That feels like the best idea ever.
It does. Oh, somebody uses a whole 1/4 of a cup of skim milk. I don't know about that. It seems like a lot of milk. I only use 1 tablespoon in mine. Anyway, okay. I love, here, Alia, should I take some of it out and only put the spinach in part of it? Because it might not blend smooth if I put it all in, right? What do you think?
Dawn, I feel like you need to live on the edge. You're a bold person. Just go for it.
Just put it all in. Okay, let's do this, you guys. I didn't know if you would be like, if there would be an upheaval about like spinach everywhere in a good way or a bad way, but I'm like, it's a mint. So this would be like, instead of like fake food coloring, we're coloring it with the phytochemicals, the actual nutrients in spinach. Which, by the way, I just want to give a plug because I'm a dietitian. There are nitrates naturally found in spinach, and those nitrates go into your body and turn into something called nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels to give you more oxygen to your freaking brain and muscles. Like, it's magic. When people are like, why do you always say food is magic? It's like, because it is. Yes, it changes your whole body. Whoa. All right, we're living on the edge, and now I'm nervous because I feel like this brown is not great. We'll see, we'll see. Living on the edge, everybody. Good. Thanks for. Oh no, it's perfect. It's turning out perfect. Okay, this is good. Now that I'm not so nervous about that, let's put in the actual mint extract. I would say start with a little bit. I put in the recipe only 1/8 of a teaspoon. I usually will do like 2 or 3 times that, but sometimes people say, DJ, your mint ice cream is too minty. So anyway, I don't agree. So I say just go slow. Do 1/8 first of each, 1/8 of vanilla extract and 1/8 of mint extract. If you don't have mint extract, you can just make vanilla. If you don't have mint extract and you happen to have fresh mint because you're a gardener and happen to have it on your windowsill in Tuscany, I don't know. Put it in, fresh mint. But anyway, I use mint extract and I use vanilla extract. Okay, let's blend it up. And actually, the spinach is quite lovely. I'll show you in a moment when it's like more blended up. So this is it. Nice cream, mint, vanilla mint, and then you could do cocoa nibs in here if you wanted. Cocoa nibs are nature's chocolate chip. They have no added sugar. They're a little bitter, but they sure are chocolatey. So you can put that in here too, like on top. Oh, you guys, listen up. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. This is the best. Okay, wait. I have like a little ice cream scoop. You guys, this is so gorgeous. Okay, wait. I want to do this justice. So now I have my supercharged brownie, right? And now I have my vanilla mint nice cream that has also a tint of green on there. Oh my gosh, wait. I gotta really make this pretty. Oh, people, can you see the gorge on that? Like, that is gorgeous. Look at you, cutie. Look at you, cutie. So anyway, the whole thing is, now this is a lot of ice cream. But if you're gonna get out your equipment to make it, might as well make at least 4 bananas. So this is 4 bananas, that little bit of splash of milk, till it's like saucer, put in your goodies and accoutrements like almond butter or cocoa powder or like I did mint vanilla. And then you can just, in your own little container, keep it in the freezer and it hardens to a miserable block. It's a miserable texture. But if you keep it out just a little bit, like 3-5 minutes, something like that, it turns back into this creamy, delicious wonderland. So the deal is that I think this is a very smart way to dessert yourself, to treat yourself, because it feels very fun, right? But this is a superfood swap. This is craving ice cream, not feeling great about eating regular ice cream every single day, and so swapping this in sometimes for your ice cream alternative. So any questions on this, or if you just want to give me oohs and ahs, or just like laugh, anything, I'll take all of it. I ain't ashamed to beg for, you know, congratulatoriness. Do it. Anybody taking me up on it? No.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's so beautiful.
It looks like the shamrock shakes that we all missed because St. Patrick's Day didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, you're right on that. So this would be, I like that. This would be like the shamrock shake. Yummy. All right, well, so should I bow or something?
Well, bow? Oh, yes! No, everybody. Round of
Right. I was just bowing. I don't know. Now, is it like Q&A time, or is it we got to all take a nap, or what's happening?
what happens now? Okay, so guys, it's me, Gina, talking again. If you have questions for Chef Alia or DJ, the RD, I'm messing up your other letters. What are your other letters? CS.
RDN, CSST.
Yes, I knew there were some C's and S's. If you have any questions for either of these babes, ask them. First of all, you both need your own cooking shows, maybe one together. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun.
If you don't already know, DJ does every day an Instagram live that is called Pantry Party. It is delightful. You can actually get inspired to make your own little meal based on what someone else is stumped by at home. Alia, what do you want to plug?
Sorry, I'm chewing right now.
I want to plug what's in my mouth.
I'm just in my kitchen eating most days. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or you're looking for more recipes, you can all follow me on Instagram, just Alia Dalal. Find the link through aSweatLife, so you don't have to try to spell that. But yeah, I have nothing major going on, but I'm just always, creating recipes, love talking to you guys. So anything you'd like to see, let me know.
Incredible, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, for celebrating all of the things. I'll spotlight myself so that we don't have to be on a DJ spotlight eating, although you do look
I didn't know I was still on the spot. I'm just loving this. You know what I'm doing next? I'm getting the heck off of this and making a banner. That's what I'm doing.
You know? So thank you for celebrating with us. We are so delighted that the world is still celebrating things, and we're very grateful to Simple Mills for being a part of our night and of our week. We have one more day of programming this week left with Simple Mills, so check us out and check out all of our friends. But until next time, thanks for celebrating with us. Bye, you guys.